Okay, you know that feeling? You're lying in bed, you are totally exhausted, desperately trying to sleep, and suddenly your brain decides, hey, let's do a loudly detailed, terrible review of every single thing you did wrong today. Yeah, we've all been there. If you've ever felt like you're just kind of along for the ride, completely at the mercy of the voice in your head, you are absolutely in the right place. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving deep into self-talk psychology. And our goal for the next 7 minutes or so is to build a really wholesome understanding of this. We're going to transform you from feeling like a helpless victim of your thoughts into the active, confident leader of your own mental narration.
To get us there, we've got a super clear 4-step map today. First, we'll look at what the inner voice actually is. Second, how thoughts become real physical feelings. Third, mental patterns and biases. And finally, achieving true self-leadership.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, what the inner voice is.
So the very first layer we need to peel back here is realizing that the voice in your head, it is absolutely not a perfect truth machine. Honestly, it's fascinating when you realize it's just a narration system trying to guide and protect you. Think about it like, think of the azan echoing through a really busy neighborhood in Lahore. That very first call right from the source is crystal clear, right? But as that sound bounces off courtyard walls, mixes with street noise, and echoes down narrow alleys, it completely changes. Your inner voice works exactly the same way. A totally raw, neutral event happens in your life, and immediately, your mind adds its own tone, its own meaning, its own urgency as it bounces around all your past experiences. So by the time you actually hear it in your head, it feels so incredibly personal and true, even if it's super distorted. Because that voice feels so utterly convincing, I really want to anchor our whole explainer today on this one powerful quote. A thought is a mental event, not an automatic command. Seriously, write that down. When you realize this, you instantly create this crucial psychological space. It's the gap between a thought just popping into your head and you assuming it must be a cold, hard fact. Your inner voice is just a narrator trying to make sense of the world. It's narration, guys, not destiny. Moving right along to Section 2, thoughts becoming real feelings.
So you might be wondering, why does a completely trivial thought act like a camera lens? Like it focuses on a fear and literally makes your body tighten or your mood drop in a matter of seconds. Well, when your mind says, I might fail, it's sending a literal warning signal right to your nervous system. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense up. But if that exact same mind says, okay, I can handle this, it opens the door to possibility and calm. The actual physical event you're facing is exactly the same, but the physical result in your body is night and day. See, your body doesn't react to dictionary words, it reacts to the meaning or the story those words are telling.
And that brings us to a vital concept that completely flips how we look at our reactions: appraisal. Appraisal is basically your mind's lightning-fast judgment of what a situation means for you. It happens so incredibly fast that you'd probably swear the emotion actually came first. Think of appraisal like an oversensitive smoke detector in your kitchen. Obviously, you want a sensitive smoke detector to keep you alive, right? But sometimes it goes off screaming at maximum volume just because you burned the toast. Your mind leans heavily toward caution. It treats everyday uncertainty like a 5-alarm fire, even when, literally, it's just burned toast.
This instant appraisal kicks off what we call the hidden loop. Let's walk through it. Step 1, a thought appears out of thin air. Step 2, the mind immediately assigns a meaning to it. Step 3, that meaning creates a very real physical feeling in your body. And Step 4, that feeling drives your attention and your actions. So, if your mind says a task is dangerous, you freeze. And then that lack of action tricks your brain into going, see? We avoided it. Good thing I was terrified. Self-talk isn't just a one-off event. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. If you've ever been paralyzed on the couch over sending one simple email, well, this loop is exactly why.
The crucial thing to remember here is that not every single thought deserves your trust. Look at this breakdown. There are actually 4 distinct types of thoughts playing out. A description is usually completely neutral, just the facts. An interpretation is what actually drives your emotion. That's the spin you put on the facts. A directive shapes your action, telling you what to do next. And a supportive reframe is what calms you down when things get stressful. The big takeaway? Thoughts don't create feelings directly. It's the unique interpretation we assign to them that does all the heavy lifting.
Okay, on to Section 3, mental patterns and biases.
Let's look at how the brain relies on old shortcuts instead of analyzing every new situation from scratch. Your inner voice is almost never giving you objective, breaking news. Actually, it's less like a fresh reporter and way more like a grumpy, overworked editor with very strong habits. Because the brain loves shortcuts to save energy, Repeated thoughts eventually calcify into these rigid habits. Imagine a student in Lahore taking a tough math exam and sighing, "Bas yaar, this was impossible." If they repeat that after every single tough task, their mind just starts treating difficulty itself as automatic proof of total failure. The gloomy script is already printed by that grumpy editor, before any real evidence is even gathered.
The harsh things you say to yourself are really just the surface layer hiding deeper mental rules. For example, telling yourself I'm terrible at this is actually just a habit of overgeneralizing one single moment of struggle. Or thinking they must be upset with me, that's literally just mind reading under uncertainty. Rewriting this script doesn't mean forcing fake toxic cheerfulness. Your brain is way too smart for that and will reject it immediately. Instead, it's about using much more accurate language. It's widening the frame so the story isn't some world-ending disaster, but just a temporary roadblock you're figuring out.
Which brings us to our final section, achieving true self-leadership.
So now that we understand the hidden machinery up there, how do we actively guide it? The absolute most powerful shift you can make is to stop arguing with the truth of an isolated thought. Just stop. Instead, step back and ask, what pattern is this thought continuing? Is it a pattern of self-protection, maybe a long-held pattern of shame, or a pattern of just avoiding discomfort at all costs? Once you spot the underlying system, the individual thought instantly loses its magic, intimidating spell over you. It's a real game changer.
To move from just thinking about this to actually doing it, here are 3 deliberate steps for self-leadership. First, notice the pattern. Catch that grumpy editor red-handed. Second, question the assumption. Ask yourself, is this a real fire, or is it just burnt toast again? And third, choose a more accurate frame. Remember, you aren't trying to completely silence your inner voice. You're actively and compassionately teaching it better habits.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the ultimate self-leadership question. Next time your mind gets exceptionally loud, ask yourself, is this useful, accurate, and proportionate? Look, understanding self-talk isn't about never having negative thoughts. That's literally impossible. It's about finding that beautiful space between hearing your mind's frantic alarms and deliberately choosing how to respond. You have the leverage now. You don't have to just get swept away by your inner voice. You can step up and lead it. So thank you so much for joining me today. Put this into practice. I challenge you. What is your inner voice going to say next?